Good morning. Good day. Um, Before you start your day off, wrapping your mind around the concerns before you decide to, jump on that anxiety roller coaster about that concerning everything that's going on today. Like before you step in to the anxieties of the world, should I say? You gotta find it in yourself to stay within the margin of what you call success. That's totally independent on the approval of man. If you don't get the gist of that, if you don't understand what I mean, what I'm saying is success is it hit different when it has everything to do with God. So before you go to reaching out for transitory things, temporary things, before you go to invest in all of yourself to identify yourself with things, really find it in yourself to focus on what truly matters in this moment. And I'm not saying or speaking any type of bad thing going on in your life or nothing like that when I say live in your dying moments. But what I mean by that is, if God will bless you with a long life if you keep the end near. If you can totally operate within the here and now and say, this is all I have right here, right now. This is my here and now, right? There's a lot of guys in prison doing life with 60, 70 years and could not possibly could wrap their mind around looking forward to anything. And if you get consumed into the societies or the domestication of the world and what has been stipulated and appraised as valuable concerning what man calls valuable, you can be veiled and really bonded in a prison that doesn't even consist of these walls. A lot of people walk around mentally imprisoned for real. And I just want to free you today because it's time to really actually free your mind. Not saying forget having to be abiding to the law and to society and to the government and having to go ahead and perform your duties of working your job and taking care of your children to the best of your ability. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying not to finish school and get credentials. I'm not saying that. But these things are just feats. These things are just things to accelerate and make it a lot easier for you to fortify and secure yourself. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to like financial currency and stuff like that, getting money or whatever, right? But then at the same time, you still got to understand the exchange for real. And money is still just your blood, sweat, and tears. It's still just your energy that you have invested. And now it's just tangible, and you can actually put that into commerce to trade, for things. You know what I'm saying? But not to get into all of that, what I mean is, say, a person doesn't have anything to look forward to, but yet they're still bestowed the next given breath of an inhale and exhale. And some people will wonder, like, why am I even living? Why am I even living? If I got to go through all this, what is there to live for? And I'm like, I had to realize that God had sat me down and let me know that your success is not success. This is just my opinion. This is just my opinion. But I find success to be, success is when a human being totally yields to the fact that he's independent and he totally relies on God to fend or secure himself, because there's nothing in this world that I can obtain, that I can craft, that will actually fortify me in my life. Like, meaning, I might have different defense mechanisms to, like, kind of prolong the inevitable of, but I cannot really actually do away with contamination. This body is still subject to contamination, just as all these things are. And everything has its time, and you have to respect that. But beyond time, the only thing that is beyond time is God. That is beyond the measure of me. That is beyond any means. You got to understand that the ultimate success is when one can actually put forth their efforts, wholesomely towards just being the right articulation of God. That is really our actual duty as beings, is to articulate oneself, to express oneself clearly. This brings about a common ground. This brings about, a lot. When God is elaborating, He used time and space, and we watch the succession of time and space, and that is the elaboration. God is elaborating what has already actually just happened, but we're going through the method. We're being walked through or prompt to the actual, beingness of God, to the provision of God, the absoluteness of God. We're being prompted to that. It's an introduction. And, I just realized, like, okay, I need to service myself in all things rightly. And that the ultimate requirement is to be able to communicate and be such as just being in harmony with all things, and being of good service, to all things. And we respect the law of nature, and you should. At the same time, if you don't know how to develop that actual state of being, the only way that you can, I guess, gradually get to that point of success is when you develop a true appreciation for God, to where you can move in action such as gratitude in God, because gratitude is appreciation in action. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just here having to explain that when you may feel like you're in a real tough situation, and you feel like there is nothing else to look forward to, there is nothing else to even try to wrap your mind around, and before you give up being like, what's the use of me? What's the use? You know what I'm saying? Before you be consumed into a damnation that is not true, before you abandon your worthiness for real. Every human being, no matter rich, poor, every human being, no matter they have made mistakes and did some of the worst things in life, every human being that participates with me in this here and now has a worthiness and still has a duty. You cannot allow yourself to be consumed in what is not truly true. God is writing over your life more than what you probably can wrap your mental capacity around, for real. So you breathe and take note to that breath. Take note to the second. Just take note to the second. Find it in you to understand and accept your worthiness. Some people have a hard time accepting how worthy they are. There's not a thing that you could do. There's not a place that you can go. There is not a thing that you can do that God has not made Himself accessible through. You gotta understand, people identify themselves with all these things and these names and shapes, and they identify themselves with their own body. You know what I'm saying? But the very act of you even being able to witness yourself shows that you're not even yourself. of your body. You know what I'm saying? You're not even the mind thinking. You're just in observation of just the mind thinking. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand and know your place and step back in within self. Step back within your own. Know that God had called you to witness such things. And you're the mere witness of such. And you start attaching yourself and identifying yourself with all these things and find yourself in a realm, in a hell or an imprisonment that you should not be in. So before you allow fear to overwhelm you, before you let these anxieties of all the troubles that are going on, before you let that overwhelm you, you need to recognize your worthiness right now. You need to understand how worthy you are. I don't want you to go and you take on your day feeling like you are not worthy, because the very act of you witnessing the world and reality, existence, just you, lets you know how worthy you are of having God. What did I say? I think I said something a long time ago. Oh, in this one piece I was like, yes, I am a man who makes mistakes. Yes, I am a man who knows better. Yes, I am a man who is just as worthy as you are to witness God. For what is in me is ripe and ready for harvest. And as a well I am drawn here amongst the spies. I am to rise in the midst of ignorance as wisdom of that here before the foundation of the earth, here amongst the spies. I am to rise as a breath resurrected of thy ancestor, and with this exhale I shall resurrect. So rise, truth, and be set apart, for fear is but a shadow. Rise, truth, and be set apart, for light is in living color. Rise, truth, and be set apart, for you are that which I am, the tone by which thy being resides, the ambience upon all possibility. Here before whom is thy bodily aspect of such an elaboration that variety is the mere proposal or recess to articulate being, one of a kind, yet one too many. Yes, I am all about witnessing thy beingness to whatever color it may have thy share of one light to circumstance. Oh, you minute means have thy share of one time, space, and moment, that as of now, yet that as of now, thy only gesture of consciousness. Yes, I am aware about that which is beyond destination, where here lies secrecy that admits the absolute. Know that darkness is the founding light to all shades, but how bright is this light of many color that comprehension should not rest upon? Oh, so bright that one is not seen nor heard, only in part of one's entirety. For there is no difference in one being two or three, for one has no excuse to exclude that which is of thy only representation. See, black as I am, that which you are, one nothing can be, yet the one all must claim. And I don't know why I wrote that, be real with you. Oh, I think I wrote that. Was it for Black History? What? I think I did for Black History Month or something like that. I just hope and pray that little piece just speaks volume to you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to, strive to perform for others, but strive to perform for God in your waking state, in this very here and now. You find it like, okay, God, what do you require of my life in this moment, right now? What is important to you, God? Like, what do you ultimately concern yourself with? What do you require of me, and why I am here? Why do I exist? Why am I even called to experience such a form of oppression to this degree? Why am I called to witness these things myself? And beyond the subjections, I find God just calling for my attention for some reason. Like the world called for my attention. So it's like the world doesn't impart reality on me. I impart reality on it. I don't recall calling for the world's attention. I think the world called for my attention. It is always calling for my attention to indulge or interest in something, to have some type of interest in something. It's calling for my attention. I'm not calling for its attention for some reason. I have been called, right? And my attention, I only have in a dualistic state 2 options to apply myself in that. It's like, okay, there's a such thing as preference. And I see that this can be a disgust or something pleasant to me. And in my choice of something that can be a disgust or pleasant, I know that everything that is drawing my attention is just God calling me, right? And for me to be given my own individuality, I hear God saying, hey, check me out. I did this right here. What you think? And it's like, oh God, like my opinion matters. Like, okay, my opinion matters for some reason, right? And it's like, all right, this is a real like detrimental state that I'm in. Okay, my opinion matters in this moment to you still because I exist. For some reason, my opinion is worthy. It has a value for some reason because I am still here honing and inheriting an aspect of witnessing for some reason. And this aspect of witnessing is very valuable to God, right? And it's like my appraisal is not something God is really ultimately dependent on, but it's just something that actually arrays the glory of God that may be pleasant to God. My attention is pleasant to God. So my glory that is being drawn from every circumstance is dwelled within this here and now. So everything that I'm actually experiencing right now, is subjected to this aspect of authority of me agreeing or coming to an agreement with such whether or not it's even relevant or not. You know what I'm saying? So if it's subjected to my relevancy of a preference, and then I choose whether or not that is something distasteful or something pleasant, right? But then yet it's like, okay, well, I can just choose to just reject it and be like, nah. But then yet it seems like it's like an obstacle, right? That I am required to take my witnessing through, right? And I think my witnessing is going through a point of refinement where I'm having to array and transform this state of witnessing into something more pleasant. And God is requiring me, right, to take my witnessing and turn it into a glorification to where I array the light of God a lot more broader for those who can actually see the face of God. Like, God is so vast, it's going to be hard for you to see. So it's like when I'm in my most oppressive states in life, when I profess my gratitude and my appreciation and how pleasant, just my life is and how much I appreciate God and my just waking, and they looking at me like, how could you even find any type of pleasantness in the state that you're in? And it's like, okay, you misinterpret what you're here and what you're here to do, what you're called to do. Some people have a hard time wrapping their mental capacity around what's really actually required of us. So when I say, what is success to you? Success aligns with what God requires of us in our existence. So I can get into a story right now, but I just received like a revelation, and as soon as I receive revelation, it's like I'm still trying to give to you as God is giving me revelation, because a person don't really understand that aspect of success. So it's like, say you ain't had up but the last few breaths. Say a person that been living the most destructive life, man, and then all of a sudden, have you ever seen that movie Menace to Society? Well, at the end of that movie, he's like, somebody asked me whether or not I care whether or not I live to die. And he's like, I guess I do, but now it's too late type, right? But say you witnessed that aspect. You know the first thing a person gonna think about? Have you ever felt like you about to die? What's the first thing come to your mind? Everything about whatever was going on, the money don't matter, no nothing. So in that moment you feel like you about to die, the first thing come to your mind is God. So if you know that, it's like It's like you're not concerned about nothing else in that moment. It's like if you know that God is the sum of every equation for real, and you lose sight or you have not known that you were called, what was required of you in this life was your gratitude. Like, and you have to find, you were called to articulate your gratitude, pretty much. And it's up to you to clearly express this gratitude. Yes. Now, you can just choose to just occupy your mere state of just witnessing and finding everything irrelevant for real. I find that would be another form of discussing God. So if it's just irrelevant and it really don't matter, you just hear and you're on the Big Bang or the Newton theory or Big Bang theory, and you just don't feel like, you know what I'm saying? It's just what it is, you know. You feel like ain't no God, or you don't feel like God care about you, or there is no real actual emotion being expressed. It'll be hard for you to actually be in that actual form of denial when you still possess emotions yourself. To say that there is no God, and then you still have a point of preference, and you still have feelings and this degree of intellect is far advanced and far beyond what you can wrap your mind around, just going to the derivative of saying that everything created itself and it just was not manipulated by no actual form of intent. It's just, I feel like that's just inaccurate in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here just trying to encourage you or shed a different aspect of light in your life, where the most vital thing, the most valuable thing that God has given you is your point of preference. And for God to call you worthy to witness any aspect of his emotion, especially say you see the person who going through the most suffering aspects of life, right? I find that those who go through total difficult trials, like being in prison, having to do life in prison, I find God finds that their opinion and preference is more valuable than the next man who's going through the most pleasant, easy, rich, lavish life. You know what I'm saying? And for one who has been called to endure such a degree, not even just going to be in comparison to say in my life, but just me witnessing other people's lives who, you know, endure so much suffering. You know what I'm saying? I find that God finds them very valuable. Those ones that he finds valuable. I find that if you have your inhale and your exhale, and you're still witnessing the moment just as I am, you cannot be in denial as if that's not an actual blatant expression of worthiness. No cap. Like, so I just don't want you to lose sight on that. You know, your gratitude, that point of preference, is something that God finds valuable. And for you to be able to transform any suffering or traumatizing or, you know, agonizing, painful state in existence, whether it's physical, mental, you know what I'm saying? For you to still hold to God's pleasantness is very, very valuable. And for you to be able to have the ability to profess it to others, how appreciative you are, even in the most depriving states in your life, in the most aspect of deprivation, for real. That is a real powerful thing. That degree of endurance is very, very phenomenal to me. You know, so those of you, man, who feel like ain't nothing else to look forward to, look at you for a second. Look at your moment right now. Look at the inheritance of this moment we have right now. Don't look at nothing else outside of what's going on right now. Right now. Don't look at nothing else. Look at you and what God has bestowed upon you to witness, to apply your preference in, to apply your gratitude to. For some reason, that state of glory, that's one of the greatest glories for real. And you wonder why the Messiah went through what the Messiah went through for us, and then still found it pleasant to apply gratitude over the suffering, over the disgust. So I'm just saying that to you to say, like, It's not to just say, I appreciate being beaten, or none of that. Just saying, God, I appreciate you for allowing me or granting me the worthiness to witness any aspect of who you are. Because I knew no other formality of being outside of the one I have now. And I'm like, man, I still got my moment to say thank you for real. Because before any of this, I mean, I don't know no other realm of being to say I can step in, apply my preference to. There's not like, I wouldn't even be able to conjure a thought outside of what I have now and my worthiness. You know what I'm saying? So don't take for granted, just your ability to be able to think or to conjure a thought of your own. A thought of your own is so valuable. But hey man, I don't want to keep running these videos so long because it'd be hard to try to line these videos up. So whatever, man, I'm making it work, man. Yeah, but look, I love you. Say, kid, hold your head, man. You know, just I love you. It's you can see it. You may not be able to feel it, but you'll understand, like, whatever it takes for me to get to you, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. You know what I mean? Even when it seems like I'm not, I'm here. Don't beat yourself down for what you don't understand and the mistakes you have made. You hold your head, boy. I just know you got this. Especially this little bit I gave to you. I know you know what to do with this here. You know what I'm saying? Today. Just this little bit of information, I know you'll know what to do with this in your day-to-day. You know what I'm saying? Until we can reunite again, I got you, man. I'm doing what I can on my end. All right.